Make good.
Hello, my name is Carla, and I would like to start off with what Brian said about, first, about how exporting e-waste causes great harm to developing countries, and how he stated that the only thing that the U.S. does with exporting e-waste is that they only ship it off, that they don't do anything else. Well, I found this from a survey from the Institute of Scrap Recycling Industries, Inc., stating that of the more than 3.5 million tons of used and end-of-life electronics collected, their survey shows that 70% by weight is processed in the U.S. So the U.S. doesn't only ship off the material that they're not going to use, they actually process more than 70% of it. And also, he says that it causes great harm to third world countries, when in reality it helps third world countries. And a statement from Forbes.com states that as globalization continues to accelerate, e-waste will play a major role in the development of emerging economies. And he also states more about how it harms third world countries but what the prohibition of electronic waste can do. And I don't think that the prohibition of electronic waste is the solution needed. In reality, an option to make the recycling of electronic waste safer is to divert recycling fees in order to pay backyard recyclers to turn in components that are dangerous to process. That way, Americans who are more technologically advanced are more stable to recycle the harmful materials instead of sending it off to third world countries, and they can dispose of the dangerous components properly. And as my partner Diana stated, that according to Discovery News, the United States and other rich countries have a role to play in providing financial and technical support. And this is true when how in a statistic from BrightHub.com, it states that the recycling industry generates $236 billion in gross annual sales and $37 billion in annual payroll. So workers are needed here in the U.S. to process the material that's going to be shipped off to other countries. So yes, workers are needed in the United States to do this. And also, in 2010, again from Forbes.com, it says that e-waste recycling contributed $5.2 billion to the U.S. economy, and this was $1 billion more than it had been in 2009. It also, they also state that the United States employed more than 30,000 full-time employees. So again, the companies that export e-waste still have to collect the used electronics and prepare them for shipping, which is why they need Americans to do this here. And also, the prohibition of electronic waste is already in effect in Europe, and they're actually seeing negative impacts of now with the banning of it. And it hasn't provided the outcome that they sought, that they're looking for in the United States. And according to news.discovery.com, even though the European Union has banned exports of end-of-life electronics, substantial amounts of end-of-life electronics are still expected from Europe, partly through internal trade within Europe to areas with lax enforcement. So the enforcement in Europe is weak, which means that they are still illegally shipping off materials, and all the electronics are still being exported from Europe to developing countries despite this ban. So this shows a weakness with exporting electronic waste. It's in Europe, and it can happen the same here in the United States. And according to an article on TLC, a mere 1/3 of e-waste is thought to be managed according to the European Union protocol. So not even all the e-waste is being regulated and shipped off or being recycled properly. Only 1/3 of it is. And also, China is another country where it officially banned imports of end-of-life electronics, and they did this in 2002, according to newsdiscovery.com. And they're actually smuggling has replaced the official trade in electronics, and it reportedly continues to flow into the country, much as before the ban. So this just shows how prohibition of electronic waste will cause no change and would not be the solution to resolve the issues.